All right, mass movement. In December 2007, severe storms hit the northwestern United States. These storms started landslides in the hills above Woodson, Oregon. When landslide debris dammed a creek in the hills, a deep lake formed. If the debris gave way, a mud flow could run downhill and damage the town. Fortunately, a landowner called the Oregon Department of Forestry. People were quickly evacuated and a nearby highway was closed. It wasn't long before the pile of debris collapsed, allowing the water to escape. A large mud flow swept away homes, cars, and trees, but thanks to the ODF, no one was harmed. All right, what caused this mud flow? What processes wear down and build up Earth's surface? On a rainy day, you might have seen water carrying soil and gravel down a driveway. That's an example of erosion, the process by which natural forces move weathered rock and soil from one place to another. Gravity, moving water, glaciers, waves, and wind are all agents or causes of erosion. The process of erosion moves material called sediment. Sediment may consist of pieces of rock or soil or the remains of plants and animals. Deposition occurs where the agents of erosion deposit or lay down sediment. Deposition changes the shape of the land. You may have watched a playing child who picked up several toys, carried them across a room, and then put them down. This child was acting something like an agent of erosion and deposition. Weathering, erosion, and deposition act together in a cycle that wears down and builds up Earth's surface. Erosion and deposition are at work everywhere on Earth. As a mountain wears down in one place, new landforms build up in other places. The cycle of erosion and deposition is never ending. All right, so up here. Read about the cycle of erosion and deposition, then use what you've learned to narrate the steps in the diagram above. What are the different types of mass movement? You're sitting on a bicycle at the top of a hill. With a slight push, you can coast down the hill. Gravity is the force that pulls you and your bike downward. It also moves rock and other materials downhill. Gravity causes mass movement, any one of several processes that move sediment downhill. Mass movement can be rapid or slow. Erosion and deposition both take place during a mass movement event. The different types of mass movement include landslides, mud flows, slumps, and creep. Mud flows. A mud flow is the rapid downhill movement of a mixture of water, rock, and soil. The amount of water in a mud flow can be as high as 60%. Mud flows often occur after heavy rains in a normally dry area. In clay soils with a high water content, mud flows may occur even on very gentle slopes. Under certain conditions, clay soils suddenly behave as a liquid and begin to flow. All right, landslides. A landslide occurs when rock and soil slide quickly down a steep slope. Some landslides contain huge masses of rock, but many landslides contain only a small amount of rock and soil. Some landslides occur where road builders have cut highways through hills or mountains, leaving behind unstable slopes. Slumps. If you slump your shoulders, the entire upper part of your body drops down. In the type of mass movement known as slumps, a mass of rock and soil suddenly slips down a slope. Unlike a landslide, the material in a slump moves down in one large mass. It looks as if someone pulled the bottom out from under part of the slope. A slump often occurs when water soaks the bottom of soil that is rich in clay. All right, creep. Creep is the very slow downhill movement of rock and soil. It can even occur on gentle slopes. Creep often results from the freezing and thawing of water in cracked layers of rock beneath the soil. Like the movement of an hour hand on a clock, creep is so slow you can barely notice it, but you can see the effects of creep in vertical objects such as telephone poles and tree trunks. Creep may tilt these objects at unusual angles. All right, a fence runs across a steep hillside. The fence is tilted downhill and forms a curve rather than a straight line. What do you think happened? All right, evaluate information. Read about the types of mass movement, then match each description with its corresponding diagram. All right, review. What is mass movement? And what force causes all types of mass movement? And explain.